Today I'm here to talk about a book that I have a review in, and it's no stranger to the channel if you've watched this channel before. It is Hagen'S books, and his book today that I'm going to be showcasing is Hidden Gaming Gems, Generation by Generation, by my good buddy Jeff Winton Hagen. So I have known Jeff quite a long time. He and I worked on a little, I don't know, zine, whatever you want to call it, for a UK-based magazine called Pixel Nation, and it was a very short-lived publication. I think we did maybe like 2 issues with a third that was supposed to come out that never did. And so I knew Jeff, but I didn't know Jeff. So when I saw that he was doing Kickstarter books, like, you know, several years ago, I jumped on and was like, hey, I'd love to be a part of your book. And he was actually like, don't I know you from somewhere? I recognize your name. And we got to talking, and we were like, oh wow, we wrote for the same publication, we didn't even know it. So ever since then, I've been writing for Jeff's books. This time I was only able to contribute 1 review, but this is a phenomenal book, and I wanted to showcase it because Jeff sent me a copy, and it was super nice of him, and I really wanted to show you guys this because it is probably his prettiest book yet. His covers have, so you guys know me, I'm not like paid for this. This was completely freelance work with the emphasis being free, but I really wanted to get my stuff out there, and I was happy to help out Jeff in any way I could. So I'm doing this mostly because I think you guys should check out this book. It's not as well known as some of the other books that he's done, like the NES book and the Super NES book. This one kind of slipped under the radar for me as well, until I realized, oh, wait a minute, I have to write an article for it. So, Hidden Gaming Gems, Generation by Generation, it goes through all the generations of video games, and it's kind of like, oh, you know, let's pick out a bunch of games that are really, really good that you wouldn't maybe know about, or maybe you did, but, you know, it kind of goes into in-depth reviews. So, you guys know that regarding like covers of his books, it's hit or miss for me. Like, sometimes his covers are phenomenal, other times his covers are meh. The Super Nintendo one, which had that big muscular dude on it, I thought that one was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but then he stepped it up and re-released the book with a new cover and new spine and new, you know, he completely redid the book, which I actually did a video on that a while back, so I'll post a link down below to that, as well as Hagen'S books in general, just so in case you guys want to purchase this one. So the Kickstarter's been long done for this one. He's actually got a new Kickstarter out for a pocket edition of his Super NES book, so I'll put a link down below for that as well. You guys could check that out. It's pretty cool. I mean, nobody's really ever done a pocket version of for one of these types of books before. So, Hidden Gaming Generations, I'm going to go through the book, just kind of showcase a little bit. I love this cover, first off. If you guys take a look, really gorgeous cover. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, when you flip the book open, you're greeted to some really cool like fan art. I think this is all fan art. This is from Celeste, and this is Shatterhand, which is pretty cool. And then again, you've got more really phenomenal art in here. I think this is like Phantasy Star or Shining Force, or one of the two. I'm not entirely sure. This, oh, is this Treasures of the Rudrus, I think it is. This right here. And then there's just some brief information, and just so you can kind of, is a picture of his daughter, and I think his grandmother, right? Yeah, his grandmother. Or his mother. I think it's Jeff's mother. And that's his daughter's grandmother. So, yeah. Now, Jeff is really like family friendly, so he does a lot of stuff with his family. I think he's working on something right now, actually, which I don't even know if I can talk about, but so I won't say anything. So this is a really cool book. So this is the first generation that it goes through, and you know, you got the Magnavox Odyssey with what's his name, Ralph Baer? Yeah, Ralph Baer, and pretty much the creator there. Then you know, you've got, you know, all this stuff is pretty old for me. It's not stuff that I would have really much interest in personally, just because my gaming didn't really start until probably the 3rd generation, I believe, which was the NES Master System era. But yeah, here's the Atari 2600, and just it goes through some of the games that you got here, which is pretty cool. A lot of like advertisements and stuff for like the games, which is nice. River Raid. So again, you know, you get the best of this generation for stuff that people really had no clue about, or is just not very well known. So eventually we move out of this era and you get to the generation that I'm personally more familiar with, which is the NES, Master System, Game Boy, Famicom, all that stuff. That's kind of my bread and butter there. And you've got a lot of different contributors. Here's a Ninja Gaiden, Pinball Quest. Yeah, Pinball Quest looks really cool. I gotta check that game out. I've never played it personally, so here's Gargoyle's Quest, which is a good one. Here's some really cool fan art. Baseball Stars. Shatterhand, phenomenal game that still people just don't know about. Crisis Force, which was a Famicom exclusive. Here's Desert Falcon, which I've never even heard of. There's a lot of stuff in here which I've never heard of. There's stuff in here that I know about. There's the Lone Ranger. Monster Max, which is a Game Boy PAL exclusive. River City Ransom. I wonder if Darkman's in here on Game Boy. That'd be pretty cool. That's a pretty obscure beat 'em up. Alcahest. A lot of really gorgeous art here. Like, look at that. Here is Tetris. OG Tetris. Blackthorn. That's a Blizzard game. Here's the art from it. Pulseman on the Genesis. And I think we're getting close to my article. Fireman. Eternal Champions, that's the Sega CD version. Let's see. BS Out of Bounds Golf. See, never heard of that. Looks kind of fun though. Predator 2. Is that on Master System? I can't see, I'm reading upside down. No, Genesis. Would have never thought to think that Predator 2 was really that good. What's this, a tennis game? What is this? Super Family Tennis. Why you should play it. Gives you a reason as to why you should play it. Wings of War. And Terranigma. It's a famous... It's like, here we go. Here's mine. So this is Battlemania Daiginjo, one of the games that I talked to death about. And I did a huge article on it, which I may end up turning into a review because it's super long. And I love what Jeff did with this. Like, I love all the art that he did with my article. I think it's fantastic. Here's a cutscene from the game. This is from the English. This game never came out in the States, but this is the version that came out in Japan. And what they did was they did a fan translation of it. So. Yeah, I got like several pages because I wrote a super long article, so I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. This is Magical Poppin', which I still have not played. Dungeon Explorer 2. Here's my buddy Dane Greenberg, who did, what was this that you did? I just flipped through it, I didn't even freaking read it. Here, let me go back and I'll redo that. Here's my buddy Dan, who is from Wintarian Studios. did. What is this? The Legend of... Oh, Corandia. Yeah. Fifth generation, so now we've reached the PS1, N64, Saturn, or Neo Geo, and Saturn. Guardian Heroes, phenomenal game. Love this fan art. It's just gorgeous. Like, I don't know where he's getting this fan art from, but it's super good. Suikoden 2. Bomberman Hero on the N64. Incredible Crisis. Yeah, this game looked cool. I was reading this article. It looks pretty neat. I'm gonna have to track that down. Windjammers, phenomenal game. One of my faves. Silhouette Mirage. Still need to play that. Blast Corps, phenomenal game. And look, here. Look at this art, or the advertisement. Advertisement for the game. Einhander. Wendy Every Which Way. This came out on the Game Boy Color. Yeah, this is a pretty obscure one. Star Wars Demolition. Brigadine. This is Ghouls and Ghosts on the, what, Game Boy? No, the Wonder Swan, right? Yeah, Bandai Wonder Swan. Yeah, I love this. Look at that. That's really cool. And this, oh, that's so awesome. That's really, really cool. I'll have to check that out. I don't even have a Wonder Swan, but this looks pretty cool too. This is like a, is this like a fighter? Yeah, I think it's a fighter. Yeah, this looks pretty neat. Very colorful. Adventures of Little Ralph. It's a very underrated game. And here's a Dreamcast ad. This is the 6th generation. You've got your Xbox, your PS2, GameCube, Dreamcast, Game Boy Advance, and the SP. Res. Just to go flip through this. Sigma Star Saga, very underrated Game Boy Advance game. Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. I want you guys to actually pick this book up because, you know, I'm going through the book route right now just to showcase it, but, you know, not here to showcase the entire book in the sense that, you know, you can just pause and read everything. I want you to actually pick up the book because it's worthwhile having in your collection. Star Fox Adventures, phenomenal game. Jet Grind Radio, great game. Here's the 7th generation. See, I feel like there wasn't enough on this generation. You know, that's my one complaint. There's a ton for all the older generations, and then when you get into this generation, this was like the big jump, the big leap, and there's not as much here. And look how much more you've got left of the book before you get to the commentators. So, oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. What's really cool about this is you also get a little bookmark, which is nice. That's really cool. I love the bright green color because green's my favorite color. So if you are like, oh, I want to check this game, I want to read up more on this game, you can just put the book cover or the bookmark in and you're done. Mad World on the Wii. Gianna Sisters DS, really good game. Phenomenal game. This is Greg Hastings Paintball 2? Okay. Muramasa the Demon Blade, great game, Vanillaware. Look at that, huh? It's gorgeous. I love how glossy it looks. Like, he did a really good job with, what's this, Pokemon Conquest? Okay. Interesting. Cool. Zack and Wiki, very underrated game for the Wii. 3D Dot Game Heroes, that's on the PS3. Mega Man ZX, I still haven't played that one. See, and then again, I feel like more should have been contributed to these two generations just because I know they're more recent, but I still feel like maybe if he does it Hidden Gaming Gems Part 2, he could do more on these later generations, but I feel like there's way more emphasis on older games than newer games, which is fine, but Axiom Verge, Ori and the Blind Forest, Wonderful 101, Souls. Nintendo Pocket Football Club. Interesting. Sunset Overdrive. And Volgar the Viking. That's a fun game. Super Time Force. And and then we jump right into the 9th generation, technically, which is the Switch. Tons of games on that golf story. Slain Back from Hell. I feel like Celeste, you know, 9th generation, you can kind of also say that it's part of the 8th generation, because some of these also came out on PS4 as well. So, and then here's Homebrews. So you get homebrew games as well on here. Battle Kid. 1 and 2, FX Unit Yuki, which I would... So yeah, a bunch of people contributed to this one. It's a really cool book. I highly recommend checking it out. It's up for sale now. You can pick it up. Thanks guys for watching this, and you know, I try to do these little book showcasings when I do get a new book. I've got some ideas for non-Hagen'S Alley books that I plan on doing in the future, so stay tuned for that. You know, whenever I get a chance to work on it, I will. But yeah, that's it for now. Stay tuned for more from the channel.